IVM.
News Kids on the Block. We bring to you stories that top the nation's papers. Fresh from the Ascend International School and IVM desk. Hi, I'm Kavya.
I'm Anya.
And I'm Trivik.
And welcome to this episode of News Kids on the Block, where we give you all the top news updates of the week. And in fact, this is the 10th episode of this podcast, which is crazy to think about because it does not feel like it.
Well, I will start us off with some good news. We're just about a week into the Paralympics, and India Paralympic athletes have already surpassed the number of medals that we won in the Olympics. We have currently a tally of 10 medals, including 2 gold, 5 silver, and 3 bronze. India is also currently 34th on the total ranking of countries in the Paralympics, which is crazy to think about because there are a lot of countries, in case you weren't paying attention in geography class.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember that with the Paralympics, there are also multiple categories of events that not just by gender, but also by a ranking system based on the disability. Anya, why don't you start us off and tell us where India won the medals?
In no particular order at all, but we'll start off with the silver medal winner because silver is my favorite color. Can it be a color? Okay, well, we have silver medal winner Nishant Kumar. He won the men's high jump in the T47 category.
Bhavina Patel also won a silver medal in her maiden games after beating the number 1 Chinese paddler in table tennis.
Then we have Avni Lekhara, who won a gold medal in the 10-meter air rifle standing shootout. I hope you were paying attention last podcast because we talked about this. I can guarantee you there might or might not be a test. And also, of course, how could I forget? Our veteran, Devendra Jhajaria, won a silver medal in the F46 javelin throw category. So he does make it a hat-trick. Unfortunately, not a hat-trick with 3 golds. But it's still quite incredible when you think about it. We also had Sundar Singh Gurjar, who won the bronze medal in that same event. So 2 Indians sharing the podium, everyone.
And just a little fun fact, Devendra Jhajaria also becomes the first Indian to win 3 medals in the Paralympics. But anyway, in athletics, Yogesh Kanthuya won a silver medal in the F64 category.
We also had Sumit Antil, who won the gold medal in the men's javelin throw in a different category. While he was throwing the javelin, as one does, he broke his own world record multiple times and then eventually ended up with the world record throw of 68.55 meters.
We also had Singraj Adana, who won the men's 10-meter air pistol shooting, the bronze medal, that is.
And then lastly, but not really last, because there are lots of days and events of the Paralympics yet to come, we had Mariyappan Thangavedu, who won the silver medal in the men's high jump. Sharad Kumar won the bronze in the same event.
Well, moving on, it's time for Trivik's weekly football segment. Who's excited? This story is a big one because 2 weeks ago, we saw Lionel Messi leave his beloved FC Barcelona after a very long stature at the club. And this week, Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the second biggest name in world football, in my humble opinion, please Ronaldo fans, don't attack me. He also made a very big move as he returned to the club where he made himself as, a footballer, introduced himself to the world there. He returned to Manchester United earlier this week, and I think that is, if I was looking at it from a neutral perspective, that is amazing. It's a great storyline, and I'm sure he will do wonderfully there. But as a Liverpool fan, which I am not excited to see that our direct rivals have signed one of, if again, it's up to debate, but one of, if not the best football player of all time. So I'm excited to see how he does as neutral, but as a Liverpool fan, really disappointed. And I wish we signed some people. But with that little rant.
Wait, 1 second. I want to say something. I said this last podcast as well, but what is with these footballers moving around from one place to another?
You're completely right. This summer has not been normal whatsoever. It has been really hectic. A lot of journalists have said this is the best transfer window of all time with so many big moves occurring. And I do agree with them. This is definitely the best transfer window I've experienced in my life. But with that, let's move into a short little break to give you guys a break from me and all of the Trivikness you just experienced.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood.
Get accustomed to womanhood.
Enjoy the experience of sisterhood.
Might get to wifehood.
Or not. Choose motherhood.
Or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
Earn a livelihood.
Change the neighborhood.
And get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Ritasha.
And me, Ayushi.
On a journey from station starting point.
To station, what now?
Next station, Pudin Station, and hopefully, Agla Station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
Welcome back. You're listening to New Kids on the Block. And we're going to move to a story that I found really interesting. It's a sort of cricket story, but not really. So it's about a smart cricket ball. And it's a cricket ball like any other. It plays like any other cricket ball. But it is a smart ball because it has an embedded chip inside it that registers data from that ball and can be used as a ball tracker in a way. And it allows data to go from inside the ball to a set of computers on the sidelines that translate the performance and assist the broadcast. This specific ball is called the Kookaburra Smart Ball, and it made its debut at the Caribbean Premier League, the CPL, which started on the 26th of August. And I think it's really interesting that technology is becoming more and more prevalent and how it's really evolving everything from science to sports as well now.
Yeah, Kavya, I think it'll be really interesting to see how this ball is used in international cricket as well. Especially when we kind of think about the use of technology in cricket, because it's so debated and disputed with DRS. It's constantly under scrutinization. So I would love to see how this plays out in international cricket if it does. With that, I'll move into the next story. Today, which is the 1st of September 2020, history was made when 9 Supreme Court justices were sworn in. That's not the historic part. The historic part is that 3 of them were female Supreme Court judges. So I'll just quickly walk you through some of their key. So let's talk about a few of them. We'll start off with Justice Kohli. She was the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court and then was appointed as an additional judge of the Delhi High Court in 2006, where she was eventually made permanent judge. And her work has a lot to do recently with COVID management, but she's also worked a lot in oversight, especially for understanding the criteria for prisons in order to protect inmates from infections. Next, we have Justice Trivedi, who was a judge at the Gujarat High Court. She's the only Supreme Court judge right now to come from the trial courts. She was a High Court judge and then eventually was transferred as an additional judge in the Rajasthan High Court and then back to the Gujarat High Court in 2016. And then lastly, we have Justice Nagratna, who was a judge at the Karnataka High Court. She is in line to become the first female Chief Justice, which will be in September 2027. She's also the daughter of a former CJI, and a lot of her work is centered on urging the center to set up statutory and autonomous mechanisms in order to regulate our broadcast media. And these are just 3, but we also currently have Justice Indira Banerjee, who's already serving on our bench. So that makes 4 female Supreme Court justices. So I think it's great to see so many women kind of commandeering our law because, well, it's just great. There's really no other way to describe this.
I completely agree with you, Anya. Why don't we take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, author-director Neeti Sharma talks about her new book Invictus, The Jungle That Made Me. On Getting Meta with Chuck, Meeta Malhotra, founder and editor of The Hard Copy, tells us how not to be scared of making mistakes. Sheila and myself talked to the CEO of MX Player, Karan Bedi, about his vision for his company on Shunya One. On Know Your Kanun, Amber introduces us to law search engines and how to use them with Indian Kanun founder Sushank Sinha. And on Tere Mere Raste, Keshav travels to the abandoned city of Fatehpur Sikri. Do follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to spread the word about a podcast. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Fiat Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and Intuit India. We really do appreciate the support. You are what makes this possible.
Welcome back. You're listening to New Kids on the Block. And we are going to move into a segment that we actually did a few episodes, one of our first episodes actually, and it was actually requested by my mom. So,
AKA our number 1 fan, shout out to Shweta auntie.
Yes.
We stand Shweta auntie. Whoop, whoop.
Okay, I'll start us off. The song I picked was a song called Highway Don't Care. So it's by Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift, and Keith Urban. And something really interesting about this is that in Taylor Swift's first ever album, Taylor Swift, the first track on that album is called Tim McGraw, and her latest album, Fearless Re-Recording, has a track on it that's called That's When, which features Keith Urban, which I thought was kind of cool. But let's get into the song. So the song is a country song. I'm not the biggest fan of country music, but I still love the song. I think it's something that everyone can like no matter what type of music that you enjoy. The lyrics are amazing. The tune is really good and you can bop to it. So you'll thank me after you listen to it.
I'll go next with my song pick for the week. So I want to talk about a song that I've really been listening to a lot. It's called Saya Tori by Sharayu Date. And it's a great song. It's got this beautiful guitar and it's a very classically based song. So everything from the way of her singing, which is absolutely beautiful, as well as even the wording, it's a great song, and I highly recommend you all listen to it.
Well, moving on, the song I have chosen for today is 21 by Polo G. This song was part of his album The Goat, and it is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's definitely not my favorite because Counting Stars is unmatched, maybe Sweet Caroline, but it is one of my favorite songs. And for the reason it's kind of embarrassing now. Back then it was super cool, but now it is very embarrassing. It reminds me of when me and the boys used to play Fortnite in the summer, those late nights grinding victory royales. It was just, those were the days, weren't they?
It's a good song though. I can vouch for that. It's a really great song and it's on a really good album as well. Okay, that brings us to our second really fun segment. We've saved the best for last in this segment, but it's basically about things that you can look forward to in September, things that are happening in September, pop culture mostly, and a little bit of sports. So the first one is something that I'm looking forward to, and I know Anya is as well. Can't say the same about Trivik, but it is the IPL. The IPL is resuming. It started a few months back, then had to stop because of COVID. And now on the 19th of September, CSK will play MI for the first match, and I can't wait.
Yes, very, very excited about the IPL. If you follow any of the accounts as much as I do, you will see all the players have already started arriving for the camp. So preparations are underway. Craziness is on the way. And it's going to be a whole lot of IPL headed out for us soon if we make it through the test series. Okay, I will rant about the test series next week.
Okay, it's time for some actually fun news now because the UCL, the UEFA Champions League, is going to resume from the 14th of September. The new season, the 21-22 season, is going to be underway, as there are a lot of contenders this year, I would say, from Liverpool, PSG, Man City, Man United, Chelsea, the last year's holders. So many great teams that are taking part this year, and it will definitely be interesting. There's also a lot of competitive groups in the group stages, so I think I am looking forward to this year's campaign. Chelsea were the team who won the trophy last year. They did a really good job in getting to the final. They put up really good defensive displays throughout the tournament, and I think they do have the potential to win it again. But my bold prediction for this year's UCL campaign, I'm going to say that PSG are definitely going to flop. I just have this weird feeling that they will. It's a gut feeling. There's no, based on no fact whatsoever, they just will flop. And the other bold prediction, which none of our viewers, no one I know could have guessed that I would say this: Liverpool are going to win. No bias included whatsoever.
Surprise, surprise. We didn't expect you to say that at all.
Wow.
Well, the next one is something that I can't say I'm looking forward to too much, but I know millions of people around the world are, and it is Drake's album, Certified Lover Boy, that will be releasing on the 3rd of September, which is actually the day that this podcast comes out.
So you better be listening to this podcast and then the album. Like,
Yes.
if you don't, Kavya will come for you. And she will bring Shweta auntie with her.
I can't say I'm the biggest Drake fan, but I know people who are, and I guess this is a big moment for them.
Well, moving on to our last story for today and our most important part of the September preview, I guess you could call it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine will see its series finale take place later this month. The show, which a lot of people told me is their favorite, one of my closest friends, official statement from him said, he said, "Damn, I'm really going to miss this show." And he did say those exact words. And I can't help but agree with him because it is one of my top 3 favorite shows of all time. And it is going to be sad that there will never be another new episode for me to watch after, I guess, 2 weeks' time. So looking forward, but also not looking forward to seeing the episode.
Okay, well, that brings us to our last and the most important part of this segment. The reason we did this segment in the first place, it is a very special person's birthday at the end of the month. You guys want to guess?
It's Halsey's birthday on the 29th, right? Yeah.
Well, 29th is the correct day, but someone a little cooler.
Andrei Shevchenko, the Ukraine manager?
Okay, no. It's my birthday.
Oh.
It's my birthday on the 29th.
No one cares about that.
So very exciting. You guys can wish me on the 29th. I'll be receiving gifts. You guys can like do whatever. I'll be fine with everything. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you enjoyed the 10th episode of News Kids on the Block. Don't forget to tune in to us every Friday for our fresh take on the news from across the globe.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. At IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep, it is. We'll see you next week. Until then, do share this episode with your folks. Stay safe and don't forget to do your homework.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcasts website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcasts website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.